The woman.
Hello, good evening and welcome to The Woman, where we aim to inspire, to encourage and to motivate. My name is Bola and today we have some wonderful guests as well, but first with my co-host, the beautiful Mr. Canham.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's good to be here as always, and we are going to be going down the route of the audit report still and dealing with a few other issues. Looking forward to it.
Wonderful. And today we also have a wonderful guest in our midst, Miss Andrea Graham. Hello and you're welcome. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good
Great
evening.
to be here.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, wonderful.
Spending time with you.
So today we're going to talk about race. I mean, we've been going through the race audit for the past few weeks now and different sections of it. As we've previously said, you can download that from the .gov.uk website. It's the Cabinet Office Race Disparity Audits, which Theresa May commissioned and which was published in October of this year. So there's lots of different elements of the race reports which suggest why BME are disadvantaged in UK society. Today we're going to be talking about race, how it impacts on us. Have you ever faced racism? Have you ever felt that you've been disadvantaged because of your race? Well, please do call in. The number's 0208 808 0693. So now, ladies, this week there's been so much happening in the news, hasn't there? So much exciting news and some devastating news as well. Is there anything in particular that springs to mind that's caught your attention this week?
Well, I'm not going to go for the obvious.
I'll
leave that for later because I'm sure that will sort of go into our discussions that we're going to have, which is quite appropriate. But the thing that is really getting under my skin right now is the situation in Libya.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased to say that there are demonstrations that are taking place, and although sometimes I feel that demonstrations don't really deal with the issue, I think it's important in terms of numbers, because it's one thing sort of just doing it on the internet, it's another thing to see the physical numbers of people coming out to demonstrate, and I believe that there is a demonstration that's taking place on the 9th.
Next Saturday, the 9th of December at 12 p.m. outside the Libyan embassy. That's where it's starting.
Yes.
There was one last weekend, I believe, but the numbers weren't that significant.
I think maybe it's getting the message out.
Absolutely.
As well.
I don't know why it's not really in the mainstream. You know, I think a lot of the momentum has been created by social media and people just...
Well, it's good enough. Social media does put it out. And as we know, newspapers tend to just select what they're going to
Well, this
to
is a
actually
very
put
important message.
Well, you know
Slavery
something, it could actually border on the very subject that we're talking about, which is it's something that happens to black people.
Doesn't matter to the mainstream.
Exactly. It's not enough. But I think it's horrific because I've seen some of the pictures, and I'm sure that many of you out there in internet world have seen it, and on Facebook and so on. And the pictures kind of take me straight back to the pictures that I saw about the situation in 1800s.
Absolutely, this is like direct slavery. It's not the covert modern slavery that we talk about in the UK, where somebody's been hidden in a home, in a cupboard to be a domestic servant. They're being shackled together, beaten, starved. I mean, it really is horrific.
It is terrible, and I would blame the countries from which these people are having to leave in order to go out there to look for work, because mostly that's the reason that they're going out there for, is for work and other nefarious activities which they're being drawn to. But I'm quite encouraged by a video that I saw that the Nigerian government of Obaseki, the state governor, had taken it quite seriously, and there are various things that they were doing to actually try and discourage people from actually leaving from Nigeria to go to Libya. And the whole process, they were doing it through legislative means, they were doing it through rehabilitation, getting work for people to do, retraining, and at least the talk was good. We now have to see the practice of it. And so I'm looking forward to see something happening or something moving in that direction. But as you know, the news trickles down very slowly.
Yeah, and let's hope they can walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I think it's actually appalling, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, that the mainstream news has not taken this up. I think that it really is. I think that when I first saw the pictures, I actually thought, is this fake news?
Yeah.
That's what I actually thought, because it did, just like you said, Paul, it took me right back
Yeah.
to such ancient times and primitive times
Yeah.
of that kind of experience.
Yeah.
And for me, I thought, is this fake news? Because why haven't I heard this on main news
Exactly.
TV?
Well, in actual fact, I mean,
that's just crazy.
Slavery has never gone away. And as I was talking to Debbie Arrow, who deals with a lot of things that happen in this way, there's a program that Africa will be running from January next year. And in actual fact, I'm calling out to all the children's champions, of which I was one, who actually participated, and asked them to come back and rejoin us as we go and look into trafficking and the issues related to it, and see what we can do in terms of one-to-one training to change the situation. If you really feel what you should be feeling, what I'm feeling concerning this matter, please come back and let's see what we can do about it. I'll be right in the front there.
Absolutely, not just the former champions as
Yeah.
well, any new champions
Exactly.
that want to come forward and train in the area of anti-trafficking and
Yeah.
modern slavery.
Yeah.
Let's make an impact.
So
for
those
our
of you who are,
community.
those of you who are going out there to go and stand in the rain next week, think about joining us to do something about it, that you can actually physically do something. So do get in touch with us. I mean, get in touch with us at the station, and we can pass the details on as well.
Okay, well, I'll move on to another news story that's cropped up today, and it's the retweeting from Trump. I don't want to call him president, but from Trump. He retweeted Britain First demo tape, and I think kudos to Theresa May for actually condemning it from the onset and saying that what he did was improper, because it was very insightful. Britain First are a right-wing group, and without even getting the facts regarding the information, the video content as well. I think one of the videos was actually from Holland, and the Dutch authorities have actually said that no, the person in this video was not a Muslim, as had been suggested, and was not even an immigrant. So they hadn't actually got the facts correct, and he's carelessly retweeted that information to his 63 million viewers, tweeters.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you?
Andrea?
No. No, it does not surprise me.
What else
But
could he do?
It really doesn't surprise me. And I just think, I really do, I will shout it out, that I think that President Trump is really abusing the office.
I mean, I know
I don't think he's respecting the office.
I don't think he understands what he's doing, and he understands the office at all. And I never never felt that he actually went in there to be president. He just wanted the title. Now
Wanted
he's got
power.
it. He never knew what he really wanted to do with it. Because
Absolutely.
nothing actually constructive has come out of him since he got there.
No, he's
And
had
it's
lots
like-
of right-wing people actually supporting him today,
Yeah.
saying, well done, the former Ku Klux Klan leader,
Of
saying,
course.
excellent one,
Of course,
Mr. Trump.
they would,
I mean,
yeah.
this is just provoking more racial tension, what we're talking about, you know, when we're trying to actually unify ourselves and to integrate, and this is just causing further division.
Yes, yes it is.
But something that is unifying us this week.
Nicely led into that one.
Absolutely. Andrew, I'll leave that one to you. Top news of the week.
Yes, the engagement and the wedding of Harry and Meghan.
How can we not
Fantastic.
talk about it?
Yeah. we have to
and
talk
guess what?
about it.
Guess what Harry said? Trump won't be invited.
Oh, does that
Apparently so.
surprise you? Does that surprise you?
So
With all
leading on-
his hatred and
Leading on from that
everything.
onto this, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, apparently.
Oh, excellent. Well, I think we were all very happy on Monday morning when the news came up, and we saw Prince Harry, who lots of people find very endearing, with Meghan Markle.
Markle.
Meghan Markle.
Markle.
Markle, that's it. I've got it. Meghan Markle. Actually, I was a fan of hers from Suits because she's an actress
okay,
from
you was,
Suits,
okay.
and
Yeah.
I'd watched that a couple of years ago. So initially, when I heard that they were an item about a year ago, I was quite taken aback. I don't know why. Maybe because she's an actress as well, and also she's American.
Well, you know, it's not very surprising for royalty to get involved with actresses, you know.
Undercover, maybe.
Say no more to that. But yeah, I mean, it's not unusual. But I think looking at the two of them, he seems quite besotted with her. And I think that she has a mature understanding. So I think the relationship should work. Plus, what I really like about her is the fact that she's her own woman already.
She's independent.
She's independent. She has been outspoken from the age of 11. She has known exactly what box to tick.
Yeah.
And in more ways than one, if you've seen some of the things that have been written about her that she has said. And she was actually writing letters to, you know, Hillary Clinton. Way back then.
When she was about 11, I think.
Yes.
She was a child
And a
even.
few other important women to try and make a change, and actually got, you know, Gamble and Procter to do something about their soap powder and how they described it. These are all things I've sort of gleaned from the information, because it's like information overload right now, as they tell us so much about her. But she seems an incredible young lady, and although I'm seeing them immediately, as they will, make that comparison with Princess Di, I would like that they just leave her to be who she is. She's already that person. She has a lot of similarities with the way in which Princess Di behaved or came across.
I think
and
that's
I think
inevitable
that, you
to
know,
some
that's
extent.
endearing to the son as well. I think that's a
Yeah.
legacy that's been drawn down.
I think that's inevitable to some extent because they did the same with Kate, and
Yeah,
you know
they
that
did, yeah.
they gave her quite a difficult time before she was fully accepted by the
Yeah.
royals. But it does seem that the monarch is moving finally,
Definitely.
you know, forward, and they're quite forward thinking. So. You know, they've allowed Kate into the family. They've now taken away the rule that only boys can actually take the throne.
Yes.
So they changed that before
That makes
William
him fifth
and
in line now.
yeah,
because of
absolutely,
that.
yeah. So that's removed his standing, as it were.
Yeah.
But you know what I really like about this relationship is not all the whether she's mixed or she's whatever, but the fact that this seems to be a relationship where they've actually fallen in love and made a decision and a choice to be with each other. Because when you look at it, the only other person that everybody else in the family has always done things out of duty. He hasn't done it necessarily out of duty in terms of his relationship.
Yeah.
So it seems a bit more pure.
Definitely.
And basically, I really wish them well, because the other person who actually made that decision was Edward the Eighth. Edward the Eighth, who married another American,
Simpson or something?
and who was a divorcee. Seems as if we bring them over.
But in his case, he had to actually abdicate.
Well,
his
he chose
title.
to advocate
He did.
rather
Brave.
than not be with the woman he loved.
Yeah,
Harry doesn't have that problem,
no.
so he can actually be with who he wants to be with, and I think it's ideal.
But who knows? Who knows what could have been going on around the background scenes with Harry? And I think that he's been very brave to follow his heart and
Why is it
and to
brave?
go for the.
No. Why is it brave?
It's brave because
She's black?
No, nothing to do with her being
All
black.
right.
It's brave because of what he's coming out of or what he's in has so much power and has so much influence on him that he's pretty free-spirited. I mean, you can
But
see
he's
from
always
going
been
through.
like that.
He has, but when it comes to a certain particular moment like this, he could have chosen and thought, do you know what? I do not want to have the backlash of what this may cause. I think he's been very brave to follow his heart and go forward and go forward for the woman that he really loves.
I don't think it's brave. I think it's
What would you
sensible.
call it?
It's just pure sense to me.
But
that you choose the person that is
It's
actually going to make you
hard
happy.
from
It's sense
our
to us,
background,
definitely.
but obviously
Definitely
for
sense to
him,
us.
there's so much
It's
more
bravery.
that's at stake.
yeah.
You know,
There is.
that's probably the reason that William and Kate actually had to separate for a term and then realised that this love is just too much, and they got back together.
But there was nothing that needed to separate them. I think that maybe, you know,
She wasn't from aristocracy.
But they're not all from aristocracy, are they? All the time.
They're meant to be, particularly if he's in line to be king.
But let's face it, right, Bola and EK. look at his dad.
Exactly.
Let's just strip it right back here,
Yeah.
right? His dad, as much as he may have been fond of his mother, it wasn't his true love.
No.
Well, this is why
And
I
he
said.
went ahead and he married Diana out of duty.
Yeah.
Now he could have followed suit.
Yeah, but he didn't need
Harry
to do
could have.
duty. He didn't need to do duty, Harry, because he's fifth in line. So it's not like he was going to be king immediately tomorrow.
No. But
So there was
come on, let's
almost
face
no
it.
fear of this happening. But we, you
But
know,
let's face it, though. Come on, he's broken a few rules here, EK. He's broken a few rules here. Let's
He
there
has
are
in the
no
last
rules.
10 years.
There are
Exactly.
there are no rules in love. There are no rules in
But
love.
in the roles, there definitely is, because otherwise
Well,
he wouldn't be
he's
here
broken
right
some
now.
traditions. And, you know, rather than
Yeah.
rules, there are no rules. He's broken some traditions and some things that are acceptable
But then what are
norms.
traditions, though?
You know, the
What are
acceptable
traditions?
norms
So
in
what do you
their,
think the
in their
impact
family.
of their marriage is going to be, though?
Amazing.
Yeah. Do you think that it's going to help unify people? Because I was saying
Not
to
necessarily.
you,
know.
EK, that I
don't
felt on
know.
Monday that the elder Caucasian women in the local grocery were
Yeah.
talking to me a lot more.
Oh,
and were
really?
happy. Yeah, and I was like, oh, is this an impact from the news today?
Well, I mean, the other side of that is
Maybe,
whether
maybe subliminally, maybe that's happening now.
maybe
Who knows?
there's going to be more mixed marriages taking place, or more people, you know, saying, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Maybe that love that I really wanted, I can take that risk, or
Yeah.
as you put it, I can be that brave to go ahead. I usually find that the older Caucasians are much more able to make that decision than the younger ones, because it's like, you know, I'm going to use that the E word, that the exotic. It's going after the exotic, and I really liked what you said Yashari said this
Okay.
morning, where she said she's not exotic,
Is that
she's
Gina? I saw that.
she's
I saw
American.
that. Yeah.
And, you know, just because she's got a hint of black in there doesn't mean anything. She's just an American, and that's it. And it's true.
Do we think that the extended family will be welcomed with open arms into Buckingham Palace?
That's going to be interesting, I think, to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah.
I think that'd be quite interesting to watch, I think, and to see. But I don't know.
There's been lots of memes going around this week,
That's
though,
gonna
hasn't
be
there?
a bit-
I've been seeing so many, which some of them were quite cringeworthy.
For example, what did you,
Well, there was a photo of the royal family having rice and peas and jerk chicken for Christmas dinner.
yeah.
There's been, you know, a suggestion of Harry and the royals doing some kind of dancing down the aisle to the palace.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you
There's-
know,
there's
these
been
things,
lots of-
these things will always happen, and it's all built around, you know, trying to poke fun at the whole situation. I don't know how you know, I think that it's a very difficult situation for her extended family, who are not used to the limelight in the same way as they're going to have to become used to it now. Because, you know, you've been living your own little life and nobody knows about it. They don't know where you live. They don't know what you eat, what you don't eat. They don't know your income, nothing like that. But suddenly, in the paper, in London, not even, we now know,
And we know what
that
the British press are like.
you're bankrupt, and the whole family is bankrupt, and all this kind of
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
And I think that is the difficult part. She's fine.
Yeah, well,
You know,
she's made
she's
herself already.
She's there where
yeah,
she's
got a good
going to. She's
standing.
very happy, but it's the fallout onto the family. You know, for her family, the sacrifices going around is going to be difficult, and I don't know how much they're going to allow the family in. That's where it becomes a
Well, that
a
remains to
situation.
be seen.
Yeah, that's one to
absolutely.
watch, really, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But
to watch.
good luck to the couple, and wishing them wonderful marital bliss.
Yes, indeed. I mean, somebody made a comment about her clothing on the day, because clothing is very important, you know. And it looked, she had a white coat on, and the inside was black. It looks
A black
like, so it's
dress
very
on.
interesting. I'll leave you to.
Okay, well, we are still going to continue this discussion on race after the break. We're going to go on a quick break now, but please do call in. Our number again is 0208 808 0693. After the break, we'll be focusing more on race and also your experiences. Please call in with your experience about any racial tension or any experiences that you've had, be it at work, in your living environment and so forth. Look forward to seeing you after the break.
Every culture and society has its differences. Yes, we are different, but united in one nation.
It's time for us to gather together.
I'm saying yes, because yes means positivity.
I say yes to a better healthcare system because nobody's life should have to be cut short for things that can easily be fixed.
Join the movement. Say yes to a better Nigeria.
Yes to a better creative industry because it will boost our economy and make our country greater.
I'm saying yes, we can do it. About road, we can do it. About infrastructures, we can do it. Good education, yes, we can do it.
Join the movement. Say yes to a better Nigeria.
Yes to a better Nigeria.
Join the evolution by visiting the website at www.yesnigeria.org.
Hello and welcome back. We're here talking about race, the race audit report, and racial tensions, racial harmony. How are we going to get that? Now, some of you may have heard about the whole furor that came out when Sandra Kerr OBE launched her little pocket guide called Let's Talk About Race. You can download it free on the .gov.uk website and the Princess Responsible Business Network. So inside it had things which some people didn't like. You know, it was quite tongue-in-cheek and it was supposed to be quite jovial. I think some people took it quite literally. So I know that on social media people were tweeting, oh, you don't need to tell me how to speak to my black friends or my colleagues at work. We get on fine, that kind of thing. Okay. So some of the things that she mentioned, for example, was don't touch my hair and don't ask to touch my hair. I mean, ladies, have you ever had that experience where an English colleague or when you were a child has come up and said, oh, your hair's different, can I touch your hair?
I do find it strange.
Yeah.
When I remember having an experience where I had my hair, it was actually out. No, it was actually in a bun. But they couldn't kind of work out outcomes when it was out. How did you get it out? So how did you get it into a bun? How does that all work?
Yeah.
It was almost like it really fascinated them how my hair actually works. And I kind of thought, that's not very hard to work out, is it? So that was quite interesting to me back then. It really was.
Well, I mean, the thing is that
It really was at that time.
when you're talking about hair, I've always had hair issues from when I was very little because I had a lot more hair than you're seeing right now. And it was a point of fascination
Yeah.
because the hair walked into the room before I did, and it had a life of its own, and people talked to it
Okay.
and about
So you
it.
saw them looking at
And
your
told me
hair.
what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, it was that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, the hair issue is a very big one, and they wanted to touch it. They were. I mean, you know, there's a part of me that looks at it very with a wry smile. They
Yeah.
don't know.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
it reminds me of the time where Margaret Mead went off to the very foreign parts to do her anthropological searches and digs and things that she did, just to find out how the other half lived. You know, we are always interested in each other, but it's just that I think with the racist undertones of it, it then makes it look like something really not.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's good to
Yeah.
be searching for knowledge and to be fascinated and to be intrigued and to learn from each other, actually. But I suppose it's knowing when not to cross those limits. So
Yeah,
I don't want people's hands in my hair, but I'm quite happy to answer questions. You know, if it's said in the right way.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't personally have an issue, but it's subjective. But you know, what I don't mind you might have a completely different view. So we can't. It's not one
Yeah,
voice speaks
yeah.
for
Well, I
all.
mean, it's almost like an etiquette book to a
Yes,
certain extent.
yes.
Because it's like, for example, when you know, people used to come over to England to come and study and everything. I think there was a time where you would be put through an induction. You know, don't shake with your left hand. Don't do this with your right hand. Don't, you know, and all of these things were part of inculcating you into the culture and making you understand what is appropriate. Now, this, maybe it looks like it's a few years too late because we've all been here for so long, but it's still happening. And I mean, I was in a conversation with somebody at work only 2 weeks ago, and he actually said to me that the behavior of certain Caucasian personnel was because they had never seen a black person. And I said to him, you know, I was in shock. What do you mean never seen a black person? You mean, you know, like we're sitting next to each other? And he said, no, they've never seen one. And I said, in today's world? Could somebody tell me, is there anybody out there that's never seen a black person or a white person right up close? Because I almost don't believe that that's what's happening.
Was that in
I think
person
it's-
or
Yeah,
on TV?
no,
Oh, wow,
in person.
Not in London, but I'm sure there are some obscure parts of
They must be
the
right at the
very
very
That is
top.
very
top
rare.
of Scotland that they may
Yeah.
not have seen. I suppose nowadays, I mean, you go across Ireland and everywhere, you know, there are Africans and Caribbeans throughout.
I mean,
but
I
I do
think
remember
you're
when I was
right.
at uni having an Irish friend, and you know, you're all in halls of residence, everybody's mixing new cultures and so forth. And one of our friends from the halls, who's Pakistani, was speaking to her mother on the phone in their native language, and she asked me if I can understand what she's saying. And I found it so obscure, you know. She's Asian, she's
Yeah.
Pakistani, and I'm black, African.
Yeah.
No, I cannot understand. But it was a genuine question, and we became very good
Wow.
friends.
Yeah.
So it's that lack of understanding, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
very bizarre.
I think the good thing about the book is that it makes a conversation start, and it makes it possible to do it because you're doing it through the book rather than you're doing it, you know, in a sense directly. Because, you know, people don't know some of these things. You just assume that somebody knows by now because we're in 2017. But it doesn't mean. Some people don't, you know, some people don't have white friends.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things they say is, she says, you know, don't say this. I don't see colour, I just see character, skills and talent. And then she says, I have heard people from all backgrounds say this at different times. If you can see what colours are in the Union Jack, then you can see colour. So don't bother saying it. It's not true and adds nothing to the conversation about race. I suppose
and it
when people are
doesn't
saying
say you're
that,
not racist either, it doesn't. Because I think the
well,
whole
it's
idea of
almost
saying
like
something
I've got
like
a friend that's black, or
Thank
I've got
you.
a friend
Doesn't
that's
that
Asian,
irritate you?
and- Yeah, yeah.
You know?
That doesn't mean anything to me, and
Yeah,
how you
yeah.
directly communicate to me.
But
Because
what does it actually mean not to see colour? If you say I don't see colour.
Well, it's to say that
or is
they're
it
not
that-
going to
what does
treat
it
you
actually
any
mean?
differently.
Yeah.
Because you are black, and that's their kind of like, it's like almost like
It's
a
almost
defense
trying to
mechanism.
welcome you in to
but
say
you know-
you're no different from Bob or Joe.
Yeah, but I sometimes think that within relationships, and somebody out there, please correct me, that when you are black and you're going into, you know, a Caucasian family to, to marry the man or the woman, whilst it's just you, it's okay. But when your mother turns up and your father turns up and your 10 sisters and brothers turn up and the cousins and aunties, it becomes a bit too many.
Well, that's why I was asking how is Meghan's extended family going to be accepted at Buckingham Palace?
It's going to be interesting.
Interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
But actually, there's
because
lots of...
I also feel that they may, some of the older generation may feel awkward about how to treat, how to communicate. And I think it's going to work both ways because they haven't been in royalty. No. And the others haven't been, you know, at the other end as well. So they're going to have to learn. So that intermixing, that growth is going to be sort of like, really fast.
I mean, I remember as well all these stories from when I was from
I think they're going
decades
to need
ago.
this book.
Well,
Or
talking about the
book.
older generation, I remember going to my friend's house from primary school, and her grandmother was there, and I was going for tea, and I walked in and her grandma was like, "Oh, it's a coloured girl."
Exactly.
Okay.
And it was said in, and she was absolutely loving and everything, but it was like, oh wow, you know, and these are the things that stick with you, because I can still remember it from today.
But you know, it's amazing how the colour comes before anything else. You know, it taints and it defines how you're going to be treated or considered, or everything that comes out of your mouth. I remember about 20 years ago, I went up to Newcastle, somewhere near Newcastle. It was, you know, outside of it, in an island, you know, seaside town, to see a Scottish lady. And I was the only person there that was black, at least on that day, because we went round the whole place, and I think the whole village knew that I had
that you had arrived.
That's right.
And we're talking about it.
That's
Did you
right.
see that lady? Did you see her hair?
You know, they sort of came out to look, because, and so, you know, it was an experience back then. But I